In cases of bullying, which party tends to draw your attention first? The bully, the victim, or the bystander?
Usually I would pay more attention to the bully to know what's going to happen.
I would probably be more drawn to the bully and the victim themselves, but after some time then I'll think like, why is no one doing anything?
I probably pay most of my attention to the people directly involved, more than to the crowd or the people who might be observing.
I think bullying is not accepted, but I think there might be a problem with both the person that's being bullied and bully as well, and I think both of them need help.
What do you think about punishments? Who should receive them? The bully, the victim, or the bystanders?
If it's physical damage, then I say the bully, because that's physical contact. But if it's verbal, then I say there should be like at least a bit of an understanding between both situations.
There should be consequences. People should be held accountable. However, more needs to take place in addition to just the consequences themselves. In our current educational climate, we're doing a lot of restorative work. We're looking at trying to have students look at their root behavior or the root causes for behaviors, and I think it's a contextual case-by-case situation.
But I really would try and help people rather than punish.
In relation to the behavior of others, who do you find to be responsible for instilling the behavior commonly seen in bullying?
I believe that it's not, sometimes it might be the bully, but sometimes it might be the things surrounding the bully and the bystander.
I definitely think it starts at a young age, so at home it's where it first starts. So with parents or whoever the caregivers are, I think they have a big responsibility.
I mean, in a larger sense, I think we all are. I think we need to look at parents, teachers, social environments, reinforcement of behavior, all of those things.
Mainly the parents, but it would be anyone that is taking care of a kid that is growing.
Do you think it is a way of growing up?
Through my perspective, I grew up with bullying, so personally I say at a young age people do get bullied, so it's a common occurrence. But I hope that bullying does not become the norm of society.
It can be, for sure. There are parents that bully their kids into submission or into compliance. And in many cases, one of my favorite books that I read in college, Yellow Raft and Blue Waters, shows the relationship between choices that people make as adults or young adults and how they're tied to behaviors or choices of the parent and the grandparent, and it goes back.
When I was young, I was on elementary, and there was this girl that always told me, I'm gonna get you, and I'm gonna get you. And then she started hitting me or pulling my hair. I didn't know how to fight because I had never done it before. And at the end of the day, it hurt, but I don't know what happened. This kid, I don't know if she wanted to be my friend, but after that day, she never, she was always taking care of me. I don't know why, but that's how it happened. And and I think that helped me.
Following the last questions, as humans go through three main stages of life, childhood, adolescence, and adulthood, what environments, i.e. school, home, and social, do you think contribute most to behavior in relation to each stage of growth?
It depends on, for example, family is a huge factor, but some families are not as able to be fully present. If you've got parents that work, and aren't really around a lot, or don't take a very active parenting role, that's a very different influence than a family that's involved and communicative and really paying attention. But I do think that the social environment plays a huge role. Once a student gets into middle school and high school, it really kind of takes over for a while, whereas the parent and family environment plays a much bigger role in elementary school and before. And then people kind of go through this phase where they're trying to figure out who they are, and it's not until they kind of pop through the other side of that. Some people, it takes them a really long time to figure all of that out and to decide for themselves what the influences are going to be in their life.
Did your parents give you advice on how to deal with bullying? If so, what did they tell you? If not, what advice do you wish you had been given?
When it comes to bullying, I will ask my parents for help or my older brother because I look up to him. So, and then they'll usually give me like, oh, go to your teacher or go to an adult that's in the school who's bullying to like help solve that issue.
I definitely remember my mother telling me that if someone hit me, that I should hit them back. But obviously, I was never the type of a person to be a fighter. And luckily, I never really actually got into a physical fight. But it was more of like neglect from people, like not being inclusive, that type of bullying. If it's verbal, just, let it slide. It's not worth your time.
I was raised very overtly to not tolerate bad behavior. And as a result, I sometimes got more of the brunt of some of the bullying because I would push back against it. My dad was a teacher in the school, and so on one hand, he wanted me always to be in alignment with rules and expectations behaviorally, but I distinctly remember my dad saying if, for example, if anybody ever tried to physically harm me, that I should pretty much do whatever I had to do to defend myself. I kind of got myself in extra trouble, I think, with my peers at times because I pushed back when I saw things that I didn't think were right, and I wasn't one to just sit and be quiet about it.
No one gave me advice, but that situation helped me overcome my fear.
Sticks and Stones, Defeating the Culture of Bullying and Rediscovering the Power of Character and Empathy is the book that the Common Senior Experience Project was based on. It states the idea that bullying does not just involve one or two people, but rather the entire community, and therefore we all have a role in it. The author believes that empathy can have a great impact in reducing bullying in schools, because if schools foster empathy, students would be guided into being more empathetic towards each other. If we raise a generation of children guided to being empathetic, do you think the impact will be positive or negative?
I do believe that if we tend to the younger generation and influence them that bullying is bad and to solve the way to not hate others or to inflict pain onto others, but instead to help one another and teach one another to be better than oneself. So I think it is a good choice to help take care of the young generation.
I think that it would have a very positive impact because people were empathetic, asking, are you okay? How's your day been? How are you? It can really make a day for those people that don't get to experience it often. Yes, it would probably most likely be positive.
I think we have to kind of look within our community first and foremost. So I think that if we continue to apply restorative practices kind of globally across our education system and in other parts of our social lives, there definitely could be a really big shift in the way that people respond to one another. There's always going to be tension between people who are different, and you can't eradicate the root problems that may come from home life. But I definitely think that we could make some choices about the language that we use and how we interact with students and how we train them to resolve conflict, and to look at themselves and examine themselves and their motivations behind their actions, which I would like to think would have to make a difference for at least people within a community.
Yes, it would be very positive. And I think I've seen that with you and your friends, how open you are, how you include everyone, and that's the way society should be.